welcome to the deep dive. Today we're talking about something really interesting, the sort of strategic power of maybe keeping your cards close to your chest.
Yeah, keeping your mouth shut, basically.
Right. Not just being secretive,
Yeah,
for no reason, but how deliberately hiding your intentions, well, it can give you a real edge.
absolutely. I mean, think about today. Everyone shares everything, right? All the time. So there's actually a kind of strength in holding back sometimes.
Like a strategic silence.
Yeah,
Helps you cut through the noise, maybe keep control.
exactly. And this ties right into Law 3 from the 48 Laws of Power. You know what?
Oh, yeah. Conceal your intentions if people don't know what you're planning.
They can't stop you. Simple as that, really.
So we're going to unpack that. Why telling everyone your goals too early might actually, shoot you in the foot.
And how to find that balance, right, between being open and, well, keeping that strategic advantage.
Look at some history, some modern stuff.
See how the masters did it. And also where people mess up, which is just as important.
Yeah, the pitfalls. So the big question for you listening is, how can you protect your own vision, keep control, just by being a bit smarter about what you actually reveal?
Okay, let's get into it.
All right, part one. Just understanding the basic idea. Don't lay out your whole strategy for everyone to see.
Right. Maybe even, throw them off the scent a little. A false trail.
Yeah, like hiding big ambitions behind just being friendly and easygoing. Or
Or making it look like you're not doing much at all. Kicking back. While actually behind the scenes, you're making big moves.
it's all about what people think you're up to, isn't it? Perception.
Totally. Because people react based on what they believe your goals are. If they don't know your real intentions.
Then they can't really react effectively. They can't block you. Or maybe jump in too early and mess things up.
Which brings us to that quote. It's a good one. When people think they understand you, they lower their guard. That's when you move.
Ooh, yeah, that's powerful.
Isn't it? The second someone thinks, I've got this person figured out, they just relax. They stop watching so closely.
And that's your opening. Because they aren't expecting your actual play.
Exactly. It's almost like a mental leverage.
Okay, so that makes sense. Part two, then, the psychology behind this.
Yeah.
Why does it work?
Well, we humans, we just naturally try to figure things out, right? We build narratives. We try to predict what's coming next. It's how we make sense of the world.
You can use that tendency strategically.
You can. Because if you spill the beans on your plans too early, you're basically handing them the script.
Right. And then they can try to rewrite the ending.
Yeah, they might copy you or try to block you or even actively work against you because now they see what you're aiming for.
It really shows the difference between surprise and predictability.
Huge difference. Being predictable makes you, well, kind of vulnerable, an open target.
But surprise, that can throw people completely off balance. Gives you a massive advantage.
And there's this other psychological thing too, the illusion of transparency. Heard of that?
Vaguely. Remind me.
It's basically our tendency to think people understand us way better than they actually do. We think our intentions are obvious just because we know them.
Ah, right. We overestimate how clear we're being.
Exactly. You might think you're just chatting casually, but someone else is picking up bits and pieces, making assumptions, often wrong ones, actually, about your real strategy.
That's a really good point. So the takeaway isn't be a deceptive hermit.
No, definitely not. It's more like communicate fine on a surface level, be normal, be friendly, share general stuff.
But keep the core strategy, the really important bits, under wraps until the time is right.
Precisely. Maintain the connection, but guard the critical info. Okay, let's make this real. Part 3, some examples. History today.
Let's start way back.
Yeah.
Otto von Bismarck. Unifying Germany. How did he use this?
Oh, he was a master. He often looked, pretty passive on the world stage, like he wasn't doing much.
But secretly.
Secretly, he was pulling all the strings, diplomatic maneuvering, setting up wars, forging treaties, all very calculated.
Misdirection.
Big time. His opponents just kept getting him wrong. They'd see him being quiet and think he was weak or had no plan.
Which let him move forward without them ganging up on him too early, like pretending interest in one thing while actually building something else.
Exactly that kind of thing. Total strategic misdirection.
Okay, fast forward. Steve Jobs, Apple. He was known for secrecy, right?
Legendary. And one of his tricks was apparently leaking fake product ideas, deliberately misleading the press, even competitors.
Why do that?
Well, it kept rivals chasing ghosts, right? Wasting their time and money on stuff Apple wasn't even making.
While Apple worked on the real thing in secret. Genius.
And he controlled the whole narrative. built insane anticipation for the actual products while everyone else was guessing. Remember all those crazy rumors before launch?
Oh, yeah. Some true. Lots totally off base. All part of the game.
Totally. Okay, another one. Jay-Z. More contemporary.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna. I love that quote.
It's perfect, isn't it? And it reflects how he operates. He keeps his big business deals totally quiet.
Until they're done. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Right. It stops speculation, prevents people from interfering or trying to get a piece of the action before he's ready. He controls the reveal, maximizes his leverage.
Smart. Okay. But it's not always success stories. There are warnings, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that startup example.
Yeah, the cautionary tale. You see it sometimes. A founder, super excited, maybe posts their whole detailed vision on LinkedIn. They want feedback, maybe investors.
And then what happens? Well, the danger is a competitor sees it, a bigger company maybe, and they think, hey, good idea. And they have the resources to build it faster.
Ouch. So the founder loses their edge just by oversharing too soon.
Exactly. Early ideas are fragile. You got to protect them.
Okay, that really drives the point home. So let's talk practical application, part 4. How do we use this in, say, 2025? Let's start with business.
Okay, business. Big one is, don't spill your entire 5-year plan before the ink is dry on key deals or partnerships.
Resist the urge.
Yeah. And maybe when you're talking about potential new stuff, new revenue ideas, frame them as experiments. Things we're exploring.
Exactly. Not like, this is our guaranteed next big thing. Save the big announcements for when you've actually, achieved something solid, when the position is strong.
That makes a lot of sense. Protects you while you're still building. What about for creators, writers, artists, YouTubers?
Similar idea, really. Instead of laying out your whole next project in detail, maybe just tease parts of it.
Build intrigue?
Yeah, generate interest without giving the whole game away. Focus on dropping finished work, not making endless promises about what's coming.
Let the work speak.
Right. Build that anticipation with strategic silence, a bit of mystery even. Like a movie trailer, not the whole script.
Okay. And personally, in our own lives, feels maybe a bit different there.
It can be. Maybe think about who you share your big ambitions with, especially around people who might be, a bit insecure or competitive themselves.
Don't give them maybe.
Sort of. Or just let your actions do the talking. Achieve the goal first, then talk about it if you want, rather than constantly stating your intentions or explaining every little move beforehand. There's a quiet power in just doing.
Okay. But this isn't foolproof. There are ways to mess this up, right? Part 5. The nuances, the mistakes.
Absolutely crucial. This isn't a license to be shady.
What's the big don't?
Don't become a constant liar. Seriously. If you're always deliberately deceiving people, trust evaporates, and your reputation is shot. That's not the goal.
It's strategic withholding, not just making stuff up.
Exactly. And another thing, don't be pointlessly cryptic, just being mysterious for the sake of it. That just annoys people.
Right. Mystery is intriguing, but confusion is just confusing.
Yeah.
And frustrating.
People need something to connect with, just not the whole strategic blueprint. Like telling a joke you need set up, but you don't give away the punchline halfway through.
Good analogy. Any other pitfalls?
Yeah. Don't assume that just because other people are quiet, they aren't watching you.
Your silence doesn't guarantee their blindness?
Not at all. Sometimes the quiet ones are paying the most attention. So don't get complacent just because you're being secretive.
Okay, so those are the don'ts. What should we be doing? The DOs.
Do share enough to be relatable. Build real connections. You don't want to seem cold or untrustworthy.
Find the balance. Share, but don't make yourself strategically naked.
Precisely. And maybe consider using decoys sometimes. Talk more openly about less critical plans or projects to draw attention away from the main thing.
A bit of misdirection again, but not outright lies.
Right. And probably the most important, always try to be thinking ahead in your communication. Plan what you reveal. And plan what you don't reveal. Be intentional.
Being strategically ahead. I like that. It's proactive, not just reactive secrecy. Which kind of brings us to the final big idea. Why is this so relevant now in 2025?
Well, think about it. We live in an age of radical oversharing, right? It's the default. Everyone's broadcasting everything.
So being quiet stands out.
Stands out massively. Strategic silence is rare now. And because it's rare, it's actually more potent. When everyone's shouting, the quiet move can be surprisingly powerful.
It's almost like a superpower in this environment.
Kind of. And especially for new ideas, new visions, they're super vulnerable at the start. They need that protection, that quiet space to grow before facing the world.
What about building in public? That's a big thing now. Seems contradictory.
That's a great point. And
Yeah.
it's nuanced. You can build in public, share progress, get feedback, connect with your audience, but
Yeah.
you can do that without revealing your core strategic secrets or your ultimate long-term play. You curate what you share, you control the narrative, even while being somewhat transparent.
So it's not all or nothing. You can share the journey without giving away the destination map.
Exactly. And that leads to this final powerful thought we wanted to share. Every empire was built before it was announced.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let that
Oh,
sink in.
right. All the foundational work, the key moves, the real strategy that often happens quietly behind the scenes. The announcement comes after the groundwork is solidly in place.
So wrapping this deep dive up,
Yeah.
the main takeaway seems to be protect your power, protect your potential by being smart about your plans.
Yeah. And again, it's not about dishonesty, it's strategic intelligence, knowing when to speak, and crucially, when to hold back, letting the results be the reveal.
Let the outcomes speak louder than the upfront intentions.
Couldn't have said it better. Let your actions make the noise, not necessarily your promises.
So as you go about your week, maybe think about that. How could letting your results be the main testament to your strategy change things, instead of broadcasting every step beforehand?
And here's that final little provocation for you to chew on. How might applying just a bit more strategic silence, a bit more concealed intention, how might that subtly, maybe powerfully shift things for you? Professionally, personally, something to consider.